Hey, my name is Dan. I used to work at the biggest dealership in the country, and now I teach fine folks like you how not to get fucked. Now, in this video, this is an interview that I did with one of my fans. She called in a couple of days ago, and her Hyundai engine got completely fucked. There was going to be thousands and thousands of dollars worth of repair, and we got the solution. We figured out the problem. There was $0 that she had to spend. Zero. She's getting the car fixed for free. So I wanted to share with you guys this interview that we did. Unfortunately, the intro is a little bit messed up, and I asked her, where did you hear about me? How did you find my channel? And that's where she's going into it. So let's just get started.
Cars that would be good, because my husband had mentioned that he wanted to get a Subaru at some point. And we heard some good things about the brand and stuff like that. So amongst my researching about different vehicles and what would be best for a family, I found your account and I just kind of binge watched everything. And going through, I had pretty much watched everything, and I kind of got away from the whole getting a new car and things like that because we are almost to the point of paying off this one, and I didn't really want to get into a whole nother lengthy contract of paying off another car.
Yeah.
We have right now, which is a 2013 Hyundai Sonata, and it's really not a bad car, but usually with the cars that we have, once one thing goes wrong, it tends to be a lot of things that go wrong at the same time. We get no break in between. So really how the whole thing started was we went and got an oil changed, and then an oil change, and they told us that we had to do some other things as well, so we're trying to schedule that out. And then my husband called me right after he got to work, and he told me that one of our tires blew out, that he ran over something. So, and then he realized that the tires were bald, so we ended up having to replace them all, which is fine. So after doing that, while we were getting that done, I started hearing this ticking, like a ticking sound in the engine. And anybody that knows anything about cars, it almost sounds like an exhaust leak, like a small exhaust leak somewhere. So I had them look at it. I said, I can't get under the car. It's pretty low, and I can't jack it up. So just take a look and tell me what it is, and tell me where that leak is so I can fix it. And they came back and told me it's not an exhaust leak. There's something wrong with the engine. But I was there to get my tires done, so they weren't going to look at the engine. So I said, okay, that's fine. I'll just make another appointment. In the meantime, they told me that our oil is burned. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. And I don't know a whole lot about cars, but when you get your oil changed within the month and it burns, there's something wrong. So after that, like within that week, like I think maybe a week or two later, my husband called me just the other day, and he said the engine stopped working while I was driving. So the engine completely shut off while he was driving to work, which is an hour commute back and forth. So it's an hour there, an hour back. And so he said the engine shut off like completely, and all of the dash lights came on. And I said, well, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't.
We had it towed.
Hey,
we got him to work. Yeah, go ahead.
The people who are listening to this, they actually don't know what car you have. Can you
Yeah.
what car is it?
Yeah, so it's a 2013 Hyundai Sonata GLS.
Okay, and
It's a decent car.
where did you go to your shop? Did you go to a car dealership, or did you go to an independent mechanic? Where did you were told that, hey, there's a problem with the car. Who told you that? Where the place you were changing the tires?
That was at Midas. And we went in there expecting to pay like maybe $400 or so to get the tires done. It ended up being $520 by the time we walked out. And I every time I go to the mechanic, it tends to end up a lot more than what I expected when I went in. Even when they tell me, out the door, this is what you're going to be paying, I end up paying more. So I tend to bring my husband with me. I think a man's presence really helps, honestly. So amidst this whole thing, we got it towed to the mechanic and all that stuff. And then I thought about you, and I was like, I wonder if I can call him, which I was actually surprised that I was going to be able to call you. I thought, I'd kind of get to run around and, have to leave a message and wait for a long time to hear back. And I didn't even notice that it was you that answered the phone, so I was kind of surprised. But,
everybody is surprised. It's like, holy shit, you answer your phone. I got my number out there for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, because it was you, and you were just like ready to talk to me and help me. I was like, wait a minute, do I have the right number? So, talking to you, and while I was talking to you, I was thinking, there could be a recall or something like that. I've gotten a letter in the mail regarding something else about the car, but I really didn't know that I was supposed to take it in for that specific recall. But the recall wasn't for the engine, it was like for the seatbelt or something. So I was thinking, let me check it out and see what other kind of recalls they have on this. So after talking to you about it, I went and looked at the recalls, and I found out there are 4 recalls on my specific vehicle matching my VIN number. Mm-hmm. Now, one of those recalls happens to be an engine failure that is from the bearings wearing down, and that can burn your oil when your bearings wear out. And that ticking sound that I thought was an exhaust leak is actually the bearing sound in the engine. So then I called Hyundai, and I said, hey, there seems to be a recall on my car, and this whole thing has just been a crazy nightmare. And so I had it towed there. Thankfully, my church actually paid to have it towed there after I had already towed it to the mechanic, so it's been a blessing. So once we had it towed there, they took a look at it, and they said it does look like a recall. So today, this morning, early in the morning, my husband went and got our rental car. Mm-hmm. And they are paying for the rental car while our car is being fixed. But the funny thing is that now that they've set us up with a rental, because it's a Hyundai dealership that is fixing my car, they have to set me up in a Hyundai car, which is actually a 2019 vehicle. So it's kind of their way of trying to get me to buy a newer vehicle and like, your engine's messed up or whatever. Because once an engine goes out, in my opinion, I no longer trust the vehicle no matter what. So I am going to have a little bit of a hesitant relationship with my car now. But I will not be purchasing a brand new vehicle. I will not be trading it in or anything like that. So their efforts to do this are futile.
Definitely. Very good choice. Here's something else that I kind of want to clarify for the listeners. So your car broke down in the middle of the road, and then what did you do? You towed it to a mechanic, to independent mechanic, or to a Hyundai dealership?
To a independent mechanic that we know through our church. Mm-hmm. We were actually going to have him look at the engine when we got a chance, but we never got that chance to make that appointment. Mm-hmm. So we kind of just had to show up there. Now, my husband leaves the house at 4:30 in the morning. Wow. So around 5 o'clock, he was like 20 minutes from church or from work or so. So he said that he was in the middle of the road and just the engine shut off, and he said there just happened to be a break in traffic, which was, had to be God. There was a break in traffic for him to be able to get off and be on the side of the road. So he was stranded, and he called me, and, I'm far away, so I can't really help that much other than call around and try to get somebody to help. So we towed it to our private mechanic, and he took a look at it, and then once we found out about the recall, I told Hyundai, I said, here's the deal. Like, if this is a recall, you guys got to fix this because it's our only vehicle, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I still owe on the thing, so it's either it's going to be fixed or it's just going to sit in your parking lot.
Absolutely. And I remember earlier we talked, and the situation was looking very grim. You're so happy right now. You're laughing. But the first time we talked, I was like, oh, shit. This is not good. Like, everything is bad. You owe money on a car. There's a huge engine problem. That's gonna cost a good amount of money to fix. It's not a $200, $300, or $400 fix. At least $1,000.
Not at all. So I would say the biggest lesson that I learned throughout this whole thing was you cannot depend on a dealership or even a salesperson at all to stay in touch with you. And it's reasonable, I would say, because there's so many people buying cars so quickly. The salespeople get it out. They really don't care about you as a person or what you're dealing with after you leave the lot. So once you leave the lot, and we bought this car in New York. Nobody's checking up on us here in Florida. So we got a good deal on the car. I would say we got a good deal, considering we were first-time buyers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I watched your video about the getting out of the fees, the dealership fees, and I was like, dadgummit, I should have looked at this before I went because I could have got it cheaper. But I would say we didn't get a bad deal. I would just say that people as responsible car owners or people who are leasing or financing or whatever the case may be, double check on your car and make sure that you're checking up on recalls and stuff like that, because just because you have the car and it's running right now doesn't mean it's fine. Something could just go crazy overnight or within the week like ours did. I mean, our tires blew out, our tie rod's bad, and to be honest, I can't say I'm surprised because the people that I got the car from, they sold it to me with a bad CV joint, so I could hear it clicking when I was turning, and they also sold it to me with no brakes. Now, the CV joint, whatever, I don't care about that, but you sell me a mother and a wife and a soldier, like you sell us a vehicle with no brakes, and I'm going to come and I'm going to be upset. So I was very upset that they did that. So I walked in and I was like, I can't believe you did this, and they fixed it immediately, and they tried to play it off, but I'm not surprised, but I would say that customers need to check up on recalls and be consistent about that, checking up every once in a while just to make sure that everything is okay with your vehicle, because you really don't know. I told the people when I called Hyundai, I said, I don't know how to build cars. I'm a mom, so I don't know how to build cars. I leave that to y'all. And I don't know how to sell or buy cars, really. I leave that to my husband. So
yeah,
if somebody's not making the car properly, they need to make it right. So I told them, the communication with customers is a little flawed. But at the same time, we as people who are driving the vehicle every day need to make sure that it's staying maintained properly. So we were maintaining it, but I guess, the engine just couldn't be, it was inevitable. So it was gonna do what it was gonna do.
Yeah, it was gonna happen at some point. And then,
yeah.
For those folks that are listening right now, if you don't know what a recall is a fuck up from a factory. So when the car manufacturer did something wrong, and then 2, 3, 5, 10 years later, the problem shows up, and they will fix it for free. If there's anything going on, they'll take care of it for free, no charge. But you said you got a mail about the recall. Did you get it to your house, or was that an email or phone call? Like, what exactly was it?
Now, typically they send, or at least Hyundai does, they send you a letter that tells you about the recall. So the recall that I got was about like seatbelts or something. And I was thinking, I don't like to waste time if I don't have to. So I thought maybe it wasn't really that big of a deal. It's just something that maybe probably wasn't even going to affect my car, because it was talking about Hyundai Sonatas and some other vehicle that they make, Sonata from like 2011 to 2014. So I figured, it's probably not my car that's going to mess up. So I just kind of ignored that. But it was for the seatbelt. It wasn't for the engine. So, for something like that, for something as big as an engine, now these people are legally obligated to fix it. So once you bring your car in, like when I towed it there, if it's a recall, they have to fix it, because now I am a liability to their company and to their brand.
Absolutely.
So if I get hurt and they find out that I went in and it did not get fixed, then they are legally responsible. So considering that they are legally obligated to fix these things when it comes to their attention, they should make a little bit more of an effort to track people down, I would say. Now, I would say we may have made it a little harder because we are a military family, so we have moved a lot. But even then, I've done the change of address and all that, so there really should have been no problem tracking me down as far as like my public records go. So, but yeah, I didn't get the letter about that, and it was just crazy. It was crazy that I had to find out in that way, but I am pleased that Hyundai is trying to make it better, although they're trying to like make me buy a new car.
Well, I don't think it's the Hyundai per se. I would probably say it's the Salesman.
Oh yeah, most likely. Yep. Because I can hear it already. They're going to ask me as soon as I go to bring this back. They're going to start asking my husband and all that. So, we noticed that you guys had a 2019. How nice, because it is 2019. Every year you got to get a new vehicle. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And how many miles do you have on your Hyundai?
When we bought it, there were, I think it was 60,000 miles, maybe a little bit less. And now there are 92,000 miles on it. So there's really not a whole lot. Like when you start to have engine problems, I would say you probably put more than, you start getting up to like 100, 120,000 miles when you start getting into trouble. At least from my experience. So 92,000 miles, I don't think my engine should have locked up. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, these things happen. Cars are kind of complicated, So, like, mess ups happen from the factory. And the nice thing about with recalls in America is they're fixed for free. If the manufacturer fucked up, I mean, you have 92,000 miles on your car, and Hyundai was like, "We'll take care of it. We got it. We're not, we're
Yeah.
not dropping you. We're not trying to be,
Yeah.
sleazy or crawl away and get, steal your money.
Right.
Yeah, like it's gonna cost them. I mean, what's shop rate? What is shop rate? 60, $70. I mean, how much
Mhm.
is it? Do you know how much it's gonna be? Did you see a quote by any chance? How much it's gonna be to replace the car to fix this problem?
$5,000.
That's coming out of Hyundai's pocket. Kind of cool, huh?
Right. Not to even include the cost of the rental for however many weeks we're going to need it. And yeah, I would say the company has been pretty good as far as getting this fixed and fixing their mistake. So I would not discourage anybody from buying from Hyundai, but I would say you need to do research on what you're getting into. Do not go to the dealership and assume that they are out for your best interest, because they have a smile on their face and they seem really nice and they ask you about what your lifestyle is like.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just for them to figure out how far they can push you before it's just a horrible, horrible, horrible deal. And even some people out there, there are people out there that will push you past that limit. So, thankfully, we got a good deal on our car. But at the same time, we really need to research the financing, because we financed our vehicle and we still owe on it. And the bank has been of no help whatsoever. They had no consideration or sympathy or empathy toward our situation and what was going on. And we were just trying to pay them their money. So, we wanted to, and I don't know much about, how that works and whatever, but they didn't want us to move it really. They didn't want us to sell it. And I'm like, I live in an apartment with my family. I can't leave this in the parking lot. I can't do that. So you need to help me figure out what I can do with it. And yeah, it's just been super crazy dealing with them. So you need to figure out, like, how trustworthy is your financing company? Do the financing yourself. Don't expect the dealer to do that for you, because you may not get the best deal. They're just probably going to stick with the deal that's going to get you out the door, that you can sign off on today, instead of searching around and finding the best
Absolutely.
deal. And the same with the vehicles. Don't assume that you have to have a brand new vehicle. You can get a used vehicle, and you can go get it looked at by a mechanic that's not near the dealership or at the dealership. Like, there's things that you can do to make sure that you get the best deal, and make sure that you're going home in a vehicle that you really trust. Because I did trust this vehicle, and then I just kind of lost that trust a little bit after I realized that they sold it to me with, no brakes and a bad CD joint. And easily, I could fix those. Those were things that were small, and they fixed them for me, thankfully. But at the same time, not every person that sells you the vehicle is going to be as nice as the guy that I got. And
Absolutely.
even then, they're not really going to be able to call you and say, hey, we noticed that there's a recall. They really don't care about you after you leave the door. After you leave and you drive off the lot, your car loses some value, and now you have a car and it's your responsibility. So definitely research.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I don't know how, but like lately, I've been getting calls about people that have the same problem, and their car broke down. I have two people with Nissans. One girl in California. She's making $600 a week. That's $2,400 minus the taxes and rent. She's pretty much paying for rent and then for the car. That's it. Living on top ramens in California. First, if you live in California, get out. And second, like what do you're stuck. Like your insurance company can't do anything because it's not an accident. Your finance company can't do nothing. I mean, what are they gonna do? It's not like they have somebody who is a loan officer / mechanic.
Yeah.
And then
I'll tell you, when when me and you were talking before, our only option was to forfeit, and I wasn't going to do that. So I really had no other option but to do that, but I still didn't want to do that. So by the grace of God, we had this recall on the specific part for the specific issue that we were going through. It's just been, and even the guy at Hyundai, he said that he has had tons of these recalls going through, and especially for the engine, for the same kinds of vehicles. And even with that, you have to understand that these, and you know this obviously, but maybe your listeners don't. Now, the the dealerships, they get paid to fix these recalls, and it's a lucrative business for them to fix these recalls.
Oh yeah, they get paid a lot of money.
Yes, they do. And if you get a recall letter, go in, because you have no idea when you go in for that one recall that you got a letter for, you have no idea what else is on your vehicle. And if it's something that can be fixed for free and they can put you in a rental while they're fixing it, I mean, why not? That's a win-win for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. That is so true. The best thing about all these Asian car manufacturers, I mean, they have something like in their, I guess, mentality, or however they're just as like companies, like they don't leave customers behind. Whether it's Toyota or
No.
Hyundai, Mazda, Hyundai, they just don't leave people behind. I like that is so freaking awesome. That's why like the cars that I recommend to buy are all Asian. None of them are super
Yeah.
exciting. They're not Ferraris. They're not Range Rovers. They're not Porsches. They're boring Toyotas, boring Hondas, boring Mazdas. But they freaking work.
And I can tell you, people that are going into car buying for the sake of having a really sexy car, it's going to get them screwed over in the long run, because they're going to put aside all of the practicality of having a vehicle, all of the logic of having a vehicle and having a good deal, just to have a beautiful car, which in the end nobody really cares about. Nobody
Absolutely.
really cares that you have a nice car. They're going to look at it and they're going to say, wow, that's a nice car, and then they're going to get over it. So you're putting yourself through so much to have a vehicle like that. And honestly, I would recommend Hyundai, honestly, because even though our engine went out, even though we had the issues that we do, our vehicle has gone cross-country 4 times. 4 times. And
Yeah, no wonder you have 92,000 miles on it. Like in how many years? 2 years or something?
Yeah, we got it back in 2013.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's more than 2. Yeah. Yeah.
Or wait, yeah. Yeah, we got it in like 20, oh no, sorry, it was 2016 actually.
2016,
We got it
okay,
in 2016, right after I had my son.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's lasted us a really good time. It's been really nice having the vehicle, and I mean it's comfortable, and it works for my family, and it travels really well, and just maintaining it and keeping that stuff up. But I would definitely say my biggest lesson learned is know who you're financing through and how much they can do for you in the worst case scenario. Know the terms of everything that you're signing up for. This isn't like a terms of use of like Instagram or Facebook or something where it really doesn't affect you that much. This is a vehicle, so know what you're signing up for. And I would say that's something that people are always going to learn the hard way, because I was young. We were like 20, so I mean, everybody's going to do whatever they're going to do, but know the terms that you're signing up for, and also know the company, know their reputation. Don't just go for the car because it's a nice looking car. Go for the company because they're trustworthy. And these people have really helped us out, and they have been amazing through the whole thing. We're still waiting on the prior authorization to get the engine done. So the mechanic has confirmed that it is the engine. Mm-hmm. Now we're just waiting on the company to say, yes, go ahead, which they will. But even considering that it was Friday that he put in the prior authorization, he called me and he said, let me set you up with one anyway, a rental. Mm-hmm. Let me get you in a rental now, because I won't hear back until Monday. And I know they're going to say yes, but I want to make sure that you're taken care of. So he's even caring about us even before everything starts happening, before the money starts flowing. So it's nice that they're able to do that, and they're willing to. So
absolutely.
I would definitely recommend. So whenever I absolutely have to get another vehicle, I will probably get a Hyundai.
Yeah, like they are the underdog of the automotive world. But I would say probably 10 years ago, I would not recommend them over a dead rat, But right now, after after they other companies made some serious investments into them, and they bought a lot of their technology from Japan, from Honda, from Toyota, from Mazda. They just bought a lot of that know-how. They bought all the smarts from them. They're actually making some great cars. So yeah, thanks for like calling me and doing this interview, so a lot of other people can learn. And if there's a recall, now they don't, if they were ever worried about a recall, it sucks that it happens, but it's not really a problem when you have a company that's literally babying you through everything. You know what I mean?
Oh Yes, I would. That is the perfect word for it. And I appreciate you inviting me onto the show because I tell you what, there is purpose in the process, and you just got to go through it and learn your lesson and just keep on trucking on. And God is He's looking out for us. So I'm not worried about a thing. When it broke down, my husband was stressed out because he's the one on the side of the road. But I was like, I don't know what God's doing, but He's doing something. We'll just wait. We'll see it. We'll see it through. And we'll learn our lesson.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for calling in. You got my number. If you have any other issues, call me and we'll see if we can figure something out.
But yeah, if I do have one, we'll keep in touch. You're definitely my guy from now on.
Absolutely. Hey, all I ask is spread the good news like the wildfire. Maybe some other people have some other questions.
And everything.
Definitely.
I've been telling everybody. Yep.
It's been awesome talking with you. I appreciate it. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Huge thank you for watching this video. Click here to subscribe, watch one of those 2 videos, and click the share button below the video. Did you enjoy the video? Did you find it useful? Do you think you're gonna save some money with it? Abso-fucking-lutely you will. Share this video on Facebook with somebody else. This is Dan Strong with 60 Minute Car. I'm signing out, and I'll see you in another video.